is what you're going to be creating today, a photo slider, and this is what it will be doing. On the first page, when it loads, this is what it shows. You hover on this, the images you can see they bit darken and become white. So when you click on this, that's a smooth transition effect. The image disappears, another one appears, and the button moves. Do the same for that. If you move from this, the buttons move like that. Very simple. Once you've downloaded your images, where this is your Photoshop file, you can manipulate here. You can change the pictures as you please. If you slide down through the layers panel, you'll see all the images that I've used. You can change this. You can change all these images. This will be our first image. Then we'll have this as our first image, that as our second image, that as our third image. You can change any, and you can also change everything to do with the text and everything, and the frame, the shadow. If you don't like it, you can duplicate layer, add it, increase the opacity and everything. Then you need to import your file from the Photoshop file that you've downloaded. I've saved mine in the desktop. Select yours from where you saved it. Keep the settings to the standard settings, the height and the width that it comes with, to avoid complications. Select OK. Once we have our image here, there is a bit of a glitch. You need to click on this background and delete. Then you have our proper image here. Then for the first page, we're going to set our first page to be as the first slider, then the second page to be the second slider, the third page to be the third slider. The first thing, good practice to do here first, is to create all these to be buttons. Click on this button and click on accordion. You'll see slider 3. Control Z if you make a mistake to go back to your previous state. So this is slider 3. That the whole of slider 3. Click control and select all these layers in slider 3. Once you have selected everything in slider 3, click choose component and make it a button. Once it's a button, click on up. You'll see this is the up state of the button. Hover is when you hover through the button, and when you hover you want to deselect the light, so that when you hover on the button it becomes light. Then you want, when you press it down, just put a bit of funkiness, deselect 3. Then click outside the screen. Then come to slider 2, expand slider 2, then choose all these components. Slider 2 control, select all the components that are under the folder slider 2. Choose component, make it a button. Click on up, make it up state to remain the way it is. Hover to match the other one, deselect the light. Then click on down, deselect the light and deselect the number. Then click on outside. Come to button 1, which is slider 1. Expand it. Click each of the layer under the folder slider 1. Make them a button. Click on up. On up state will remain where it is. On down state we will deselect the light layer. The down, you want to deselect the light and deselect 1. Then click on outside. Then we have our 3 buttons. So we want to duplicate. The first thing we want to do is, we want this to be our first image. And we want to make all the other images invisible. So our first image is that. So deselect logo 1 and logo 2 as our images, or whichever you call your images. Then click on duplicate state. Then on this state you want, scroll down, you want to deselect that image and select that image, which would be our page 2. But for this image, we need to select this button needs to come to the right side. Control plus to zoom and see and position it nicely. I'm doing this for the tutorial purposes, so you can do yours perfectly. Then you need to click on this image and move it a bit to the right. Then once it's okay, you can click on outside, and we have our second stage. We need to duplicate the state and get our page 3. But our page 3, this button will also have to come to the right side. Position it properly, you have all the time to do that. Then you want to select on this image and you want to make it disappear and make that other image appear. Then you want to move this image to the left. For accurate positioning, use the shift and the arrow keys to be more perfect. So where it's not perfect, you can use your mouse or you can zoom in to get a final grasp of your position. Now we have created the first 3 states. So when you click the first button, that is what will happen. When you click the second button, it will come to the second state. When you click the third button, it will come to the third state. So on the first state, you want this. When you click this button, which is button 3, that you want to add an interaction. On click play transition to state page 1. When in any state, click on OK. Then you want to click on the second button, click add interaction. On click play transition to state, select page 2, click OK. You want to select the third one, add interaction, play transition to state page 3, then click OK. We have everything right now, so we need to see it first in a web browser before we publish it. Click Control Enter to view it. We will click on the first state, it will remain there, but we can see the interaction. Once you click, the image becomes lighter and the 3 disappears. When you hover, there is a difference, it becomes darker. Then you click on the second one, the button comes to this side, you get another different image. You click on the first one, the same. Now what you need to do is create smoothness to this. So you'll go back to your Flash Catalyst and you add and click on this, bring it up. Then we need to see from page 1 to page 2, click on add interaction. So the first thing you want to see is the button to move. So the first thing we need to do, let's put the picture to fade out first. Then once the picture is faded out, the button to move. Then once the button has moved, you want this logo to fade in. So select that and select that. To view what you've done, click on play. Then you see everything has a nice transition. Fades out, the button goes then that. Page 1, you want to click from page 1 to page 3. Click on smooth transition. You want the buttons to move at the same time, but you want the pictures to fade out fast. To view, we are not so sure, but we need to fade out fast before we fade in. We can play to see. Yes. So, but for the buttons, you want one button to move after the other, so you can click on the button have, you can smoothen them. You want one button to move before the other, you want them to move simultaneously, you can change all that in this timeline. So click on play, you can see buttons move after the other. Then click on page 2 to page 1. Then smooth transition, then you can move them here. So from page 2 to page 1, you want to fade out first before you move in, fade in later. So click play and see. Okay, go to page 2 and do all of them for all the steps to get a good finish. And after you've done that, you'll click on Control, Enter. I'm going to build it from here. You can continue from here. I'm just going to show you the final results. Then here we have our finished gallery. So as you can view, click on all the buttons and transactions are working. So you can smooth yours and position everything as you please. Thank you for watching my tutorial. Go to the next tutorial and view some of them. Comment and rate please if you're watching from YouTube. Thank you.